Have you ever sat in that heavy silence at a family dinner? Here on Human Stories, we retell those moments, honest, everyday, sometimes controversial. Every story is a mirror. Subscribe, join the conversation, and maybe find a little healing. The Portland Jetport is a soft, kind of loud rubber wheels ticking over tile, a hiss from the espresso machine, a boarding call that arrives like a polite suggestion. I stand under the departures board with a paper cup warming my hands, reading the tiny line that matters: Portland, Bar Harbor on time, Gate D5. A woman in a Red Sox cap leans her stroller against her hip. A TSA agent jokes with a teenager about the size of his fishing rod case. It smells like salt carried inland and burnt coffee. The blueberry muffins I baked at Dawn Blue as Bruce's sugar freckled are wrapped in wax paper inside my canvas tote. On top of them, secured by a paper clip, an envelope with Zoe Quinn, written in block letters, and the little starfish sticker she picked from the library desk last week. I promised I'd bring her new card so she could check out chapter books on the island. I promised. Promises feel heavy in public places. I call Ethan first. It goes to voicemail on the second ring, his recorded voice careful and upbeat. "You've reached Ethan. Leave the thing that I should not forget." The beep sounds like a shrug. I end the call. I try Brooke. She answers on the third ring, bright as midday. "Mags, hey," she says. I can hear road under her voice, the kind of open window sound that carries trees and sunlight. We're just pulling in where I ask, even though the board in front of me says the answer isn't possible. "The cottage," she says, laughing a little. We beat the traffic for once. The kids are already arguing about bunk beds. I watch the line at B5 snake forward. "Brooke," I say level. "My flight is at 3:15 today." There's a pause I could drive a truck through. "Is it?" She makes a thinking noise. I've had the 12th in my head this whole time. Another voice, muffled Ethan's, probably asked something. "Zoe even double-checked last week," she adds, as if that makes it gentler. "Did she?" I say. "Look, I might have mixed the dates. We can figure it out," she says, the last three words coming pre-wrapped in tissue paper. "Enjoy the sun," I tell her, because my mouth knows how to be polite even when my stomach is doing slow flips. I hang up before the part where she offers nothing useful. A teenage girl near me is applying lip balm and talking about tide pools. Two men in linen shirts discuss a sailboat they don't own. The board doesn't blink. I move to a metal bench that's colder than it looks and scroll up through the thread with Brooke, the planning the grocery list, the "we'll keep it simple this year," all those dinners reduced to bullet points. I don't have to hunt for it. The message sits there like a lit window in a long block of dark houses. "Flight is 3:15 on the 14th. Please be on time. The kids are buzzing." The blue bubble glows on my palm. The timestamp is tidy a week old. I remember where I was when I read it, the sink running. The cat making a surprise chirp at my ankles, the relief that this year nobody needed me to drive up alone at dawn. We were going to fly together, at least in spirit. Now the airport smells like burnt sugar. Across from me, a child in shark pajamas drags a carry-on that's almost his size. His dad is trying to talk him into socks. My gate calls pre-boarding for people who need more time. I don't move. The cup in my hand is emptier than I expect. I toss it and miss the trash can. A man in a safety vest retrieves it for me without looking up. I dial Ethan again because some habits are taller than we are. Voicemail. I don't leave a message. Words spoken into machines feel like losing a little more of yourself each time. Instead, I open the Notes app where I keep the kids' clothing sizes, Zoe's shoe width, the twins' allergies. The list reads like a map of their bodies. I stare until the letters blur. A woman at the counter asks if anyone wants the last blueberry scone. I laugh quietly. The sound surprises me. I shoulder my tote. I could board, make the trip on my own nickel and sit on a porch that doesn't expect me. Or I could stand here until the letters rearrange themselves into the version where I am included. Neither happens. I walk back through security. The TSA agent who teased the boy nods like we're old friends, forgets something he asks. Just found it, I say. He doesn't need to know what that means. Outside, the air has a briny edge. Taxis idle in a neat line, their drivers talking with their hands. The sky is the careful blue of a promise made by a person who thinks promises are easy. I drive home with the tote on the passenger seat, the muffins sliding a little at each turn, the envelope with the starfish sticker catching sun so it seems to wink. The radio is set low. On I-295, a truck passes with kayaks strapped to its roof, red flags snapping. A kid in the back window flashes me a gap-toothed grin that can't possibly be meant for me and still lands like kindness. My house sits on a small rise 2 blocks from the water. Gray shingles a porch that holds morning light. A wind chime that rings in weather even the forecast didn't notice. I park in the driveway and leave the suitcase in the trunk. Inside, I place the muffins on the counter and slide Zoe's envelope under a magnet shaped like a lobster. The kitchen keeps yesterday's cool. A list of groceries is folded beneath the fruit bowl topped by a lemon that looks like it's been practicing being useful. I don't take off my shoes. I don't speak the sentence I'm already composing in my chest because there isn't a person in the room who deserves to hear it first. I stand there in the soft hum of the refrigerator and the clack of the chime outside and consider the fact that there is no mess, just a neat rearranging of chairs that leaves one person with nowhere to sit. I find my phone again, thumb through the thread once more, and then slip it into the side pocket of the tote where I keep Band-Aids and a pen. Through the front window, a gull sweeps low and then up the kind of careless arc that only looks easy. I unclip the paper around the muffins and break one open. The berries bleed purple into my fingers. It tastes like something I meant to share. A car door slams somewhere on the street. Someone laughs. The wind shifts, bringing a suggestion of low tide. I wash my hands. I dry them. I straighten the envelope's edges against the fridge until they line up exactly. The starfish looks cheerful no matter where you put it. I step back and let the chime have the last word. The kitchen has the kind of quiet that stacks refrigerator hum on wind chime on a gull's single heckle. I set the muffin wrapper in the sink and open the laptop on the counter where the morning light lays itself flat. The banking site remembers me too quickly. A row of transactions lines up like a little parade that never asked my permission. There it is, Sand and Cedar Cottages, MDI, $4,200 deposit. The description is so pretty about it, Sand Cedar Island, like money is only a cent. Below that, other neat rectangles, all seasons auto 6-month premium, Pine Pediatric urgent copay, Milltown Summer Day camp deposit, Portside computer, 11 Chromebook. Every label offers a small biography. I click into details the way a person checks a bruise, dates, confirmation numbers, a quiet chain of yeses I gave without saying the word out loud. I scroll until the bar on the right becomes the thin proof of how long I've been doing this. A legal pad sits in the drawer with the twist ties and the birthday candles. I pull it free and write at the top what I've paid. The words look like a dare. I date the corner because order calms me and start a list I had never let myself see all at once. Ethan. All seasons premium increase last December $380. Zoe School Chromebook, when the old one died the night before, report $299. Max Nebulizer mask the urgent care said insurance would circle back on $46. Finn camp deposit when I said I'd treat them to some July air $250. I keep going. The ink has its own breath. The wind shifts and the chime taps out something light. I stop writing to listen and without thinking open the voice memo app on my phone. I've used it to remember grocery items to capture the sound of Zoe's laugh when she read me a joke about penguins. Now I hear my own inhale before the first word. This is for me, I say, because announcing the audience makes it easier. I'm not the backstop anymore. I let the silence after it sit there count to 10 the way I do when I'm trying to keep the kettle from shrieking. I save the file under for me and lock the screen. On the bookshelf in the hall, the photo frames lean the way a person leans when a friend has more to say. I pull down the one of Ethan at 12 in a thrift store blazer, tie crooked freckles like punctuation. He is small and trying not to show it. We were living over a laundromat, then the apartment warm and damp in winter, the window frosting into a fern every night. I remember thawing the milk by setting the bottle near the radiator, how the whole place smelled like starch and coin metal. The winter storm that took out the power and the neighbor who ran an extension cord under our door so the space heater could keep Ethan's breath from turning to smoke. There was nobody to call at 2 a.m., so I didn't. The habit of not calling grew leg. The first time I met Brooke, it was at a 4th of July cookout in a friend's backyard near Back Cove. Grasses leaning toward the water, kids jumping through a sprinkler like being chased by something friendly. She wore a navy dress with little white anchors and held a spreadsheet on her phone like it was a cocktail. She said Mags the way a person says a nickname they've learned from a manual correctly without history. She was kind in all the ways that photograph well brought a berry salad in a glass bowl, complimented my potato salad, asked about my book club as if interest could be stacked like plates. Later, she laughed at the cloth diaper suggestion the way a person laughs kindly at a magic trick that won't scale. "We've got a system," she said, and smiled in a way that filed the subject. The kettle gives a little complaint before it settles. I don't make tea. I sit again and write Brooke lease cosign on the legal pad, then stop and cross it out because it's not the right tone. It's not a ledger of crimes. It's a record of presence. I start a second column time. 2 overnights when the twins ran fevers. 7 pickups from soccer when meetings ran long. 3 holiday dinners moved to Sunday so they could do both sides. Ink doesn't weigh anything and still the page feels heavier. My hands find the shoebox at the back of the pantry where I keep warranty cards and extra instruction manuals in case knowledge decides to fail me. Inside, under a rice cooker booklet and a mixer paddle I thought I'd lost, are the drawings I kept because paper made by children is louder than grown-up paper. One shows 3 stick figures with round heads and hair like Fire Zoe Mom Dad. A 4th figure is a triangle with arms out and is labeled Mags with care. We are holding hands, and our hands are as long as our bodies. The house in the corner leans because all quick houses do. There is a dog that is really a cloud with legs. The world inside a child's drawing is stable because the lines say it is. The phone buzzes just once, a calendar reminder from 3 months ago that I never canceled Bar Harbor grocery run ice eggs. Sunscreen grapes? I swipe it away. I do not trust any list right now that uses we without asking me first. I open the banking app again this time to Family Saver, the small account I set up years back when saving with a noun felt like a plan. A recurring transfer on the 15th stares up at me, trim and confident. There is a button that reads Manage. It sits 3 inches to the right of my breath. I close the laptop and take my keys without deciding to. Outside, the afternoon has turned the street into a slow ribbon. I walk the 2 blocks to Harbor Page's, the used bookshop with the cat that thinks it's on staff. The bell over the door gives the merciful kind of ring that doesn't require applause. Ms. Calder looks up from the desk where she is mending a spine with surgical tape and dog patience. Her white hair is in a braid thick enough to tie a boat. "Afternoon, Mags," she says like the day itself has chosen to greet me. The cat, whose name is Oyster, pretends to be asleep on a stack of travel guides, one paw pulling rank. The shop smells like paper and dust that tried to be cinnamon once. "I need a new notebook," I say, lifting the old legal pad for show. "Something with a spine." "I'd say we could all use one," she says. "Lined, or the kind for people who don't want fences?" "Lined," I say. "Blue cover if you have it." She finds it without looking, as if the notebooks arrange themselves at night when nobody's watching. There's a flyer taped to the counter edge that reads, Harbor Pages Thursday Book Circle Tea Pie Opinions. Ms. Calder arches a question at me without moving her eyebrows much. We're reading The Housekeeper and the Professor next, she says. You should come. Not because of the book, she adds, but because the chairs are comfortable and we finally replaced the wobbly one. I like chairs that don't ask for balance, I say, and realize I mean it. I slide a 10 across for the notebook and a pack of stamps with shorebirds watching something I can't see. At the door, a teenager is telling her friend she saw pictures of Acadia on someone's feed and the water looked like glass you could walk on. The friend says, "That's filters in a way that means it could still be true." I let the bell ring behind me, and the day catches me on the sidewalk like I'm a child stepping off a curb. On the way home, I pass Mr. Ellison hunched over the hood of a truck the color of an old bruise. He is a long-ago sailor, the kind who taught everybody's kid how to tie a bowline. Tide's been odd, he calls without looking up. Pushed in early, then sulking. Some things keep their own calendar, I say. He grunts approval like we've agreed on weather. Back in the kitchen, the light has shifted to the side of the fridge where the lobster magnet has faded to a paler red. I open the blue notebook to its first clean page and write Harbor Hands Foundation because a name arrived and waited. Then I stop because writing a thing doesn't make a thing. I set the pen down and pick up Zoe's envelope, trace the starfish sticker so my finger catches at each point. I whisper her name into the room because saying a name in an empty space makes it sound like a bell. I wash a single mug and set it on the rack as if someone might come and need it. The hum in the walls is busier now, pipes thinking about themselves, the chime tapping the way a friend does when they've come to a door and don't want to startle. I take the legal pad to the dining table and keep listing not in anger but in a tone that assumes the truth can stand on its own legs. March, Brooks' tires after the nail. April, Zoe's recital shoes when the old ones pinched. June, 3 summer Fridays for the twins, so camp wouldn't feel like a sprint. I pause and add July MDI deposit, and the ink doesn't change its color or its mind. The voice memo icon sits on the phone face like a small mouth waiting. I put the phone face down and write a different kind of note on the blue page what I asked for. The pen hovers. After a while, I write a seat, and under it, a text that includes my name, and under that, a calendar that matches the one in my head. The list looks childish and therefore honest. Outside, a gull laughs at something nobody else finds funny. I close the notebook and stack it on the legal pad like a roof on a house. The room is exactly as it was an hour ago, and also rearranged chairs, where they were, refrigerator humming the starfish sticker, pretending this is a normal day. The blueberry on my fingertip has left a little moon. I lick it away, not because it fixes anything, but because it's there. The wind chime reaches for a note, finds it, and lets it hang. I slide the tote under the chair, press my palm to the counter to feel the cool, and look at the manage button in my mind, the way you look at a road you know by heart. The legal pad waits without hurrying me. Oyster is probably asleep on maps of places he won't visit. Somewhere on an island, a child I love is arguing about bunk beds. In this house, the quiet fits. The manage button is smaller than any decision should be. I touch it with my fingertip the way you test bath water. The transfer screen opens monthly, the 15th, the quiet river that runs from me to Family Saver. I slide the toggle to off. A little green becomes gray. The site asks if I'm sure, as if certainty can be checked like a box. I click confirm and the page thanks me like I've made a charitable gift to myself. A second tab, close account. The bank offers balloons digital confetti for customers who simplify. I read the warnings, you'll lose, this you won't have that. I keep going. The laptop pings and shows me a PDF stamped complete. It's nothing dramatic. I expected a drum roll. I get a receipt. On the dining table, the blue notebook waits with its plain opinion about paper. I write Zoe 529 on the top line, then Max, then Finn. I don't know the exact forms, but I know the shape. The credit union on Commercial Street answers on the second ring, A woman whose voice sounds like she's good at plants. This is Lila, she says. How can I help? I need education accounts for 3 grandchildren, I say. Custodian, not their parents. Independent trustee, if that's an option. I want something that keeps its promise. We can set that up, she says. No problem. I'll email the packets. We'll need birth dates and the addresses where statements should go. Mine, I say. Until they're old enough to read the fine print and the big print both. She laughs the way you laugh when you agree without saying so. I spell their names and the dates come easily as breath. While Lila types, I look out the window at a gull who has learned exactly when the deli on the corner throws bread. We can courier a notary, she says, or you can swing by. I'll swing, I say. Swinging by is the one athletic thing I still do. When the call ends, I open email and draft a note to Pike and Mason, the law office that handles the dull seriousness I can't afford to do wrong. Subject will revision, I type without stopping. Half of the estate to Harbor Hands Foundation, E.N. attached. Remaining half in equal shares to Zoe Quinn on Quinn. Finn Quinn held in trust until each turns 25. Distributions allowed for education, health, and emergencies at the trustee's discretion. Trustee to be not a parent. Please advise on the best person or entity. I attached the charity's brochure I picked up at the library months ago, the one with a photo of a grandmother holding a baby whose hair stands up like a plan. I sign my name and the cursor blinks like it expects applause. The reply lands 9 minutes later, the partner's assistant faster than weather. We can draft today. Review at 4 p.m. via e-sign. Everything in the world is ready to move if you stop apologizing for moving it. The house sighs the way old houses do when you change what runs through them. I make tea because doing nothing feels noisy. The kettle's complaint rises and vanishes. I set out 3 mugs without thinking, and then put 2 back not as a statement just for accuracy. I choose the one with the chip in the handle because I like to know where to place my thumb. The front walk crunches under a car tire. I don't look. I know the weight of that sound. 2 shadows cross the shade line on the porch. I see only legs through the glass. A knuckle meets wood in a polite pattern that can still bruise. I open the door. Brooke stands there in running shoes and a performance fleece sunglasses pushed up like a crown she forgot to take off. She holds a paper bag from Bayside Bakery that smells like cinnamon and apology. Ethan is half a step back, hands in his pockets, a posture he learned when he was 14 and kept for days like this. Hi, Mags, Brooke says. Too bright like a switch turned to on before the bulb caught up. Mom, Ethan says like a test he wants partial credit for. I step aside so they can do what people do, enter a space and pretend spaces don't remember. They carry their careful into my kitchen. Brooke sets the bag on the counter, untwists the tie, and reveals a coffee cake that looks like it passed the SATs. I brought something, she says. I see, I say. I take out plates and a knife because I was raised to serve even when nobody is hungry. Ethan hovers, chooses the stool that wobbles least. We tried calling, he says. I saw I say and pour tea into the 1 mug I set out. I don't offer 2 more. They don't ask. We live in a culture that reads omission as mercy. Brooke starts first because she is good at emails, and this is just a vocal email. We had the dates crossed, she says. She waves a hand like she's clearing a chalkboard. The summer calendar is... We're juggling. It wasn't crossed, I say. It was straight. Your message said the 14th. You told me to be on time. She keeps her eyes on the cake and cuts a slice that crumbles into good behavior. I've been in 3 time zones for work this month. She laughs and lets the laugh die appropriately. We wanted this one to be quiet. The kids... Every choice was quiet, I say, just not mine. Ethan looks at a fixed point on the backsplash, where a tile hairline cracks. Mom, we didn't do it to hurt you. I noticed, I say. Pain isn't a requirement. You took a trip I helped pay for, and you did not include me. My voice isn't loud, it's furniture. That's a complete sentence. He rubs the back of his neck the way his father did when sentences went where he didn't expect them. I thought we'd talk about it when we got back, he says as if time is a kind of cleaner. I'm talking, I say. Right here. Right now. I slide the blue notebook a few inches, then stop because I don't need props. It wasn't a mix-up, Brooke, I add, turning to her. It was a choice that worked beautifully for you and cost me precisely what you were willing to spend of me. She meets my eyes for the first time, and they're doing two jobs, feeling and calculating. I'm sorry, she says, and I believe she is sorry that the room won't take the shape she likes. We needed breathing room. You had breathing room, I say. You just left me outside of it. The chime taps once like punctuation. None of us look. Ethan reaches for the knife and sets it down again, because knives in hands change conversations. Don't make this a thing, he says soft, but with old boy pleading. It became a thing, I say, when I paid for my own erasure. He flinches so slight only mothers would see it. That's not fair, he says. It's accurate, I say. Fair is a different department. Brooke places a napkin beside the cake slice she cut, and then doesn't touch either. We love you, she says, which is a sentence that does too much work for its verbs. The kids adore you. The kids are not the problem, I say. They never are. I sip tea. It's hotter than I thought. I don't react. Here's the part I need you both to hear, and you'll each bring home the half you like. I haven't left this family. I set the mug down. You removed me from a plan I paid to build. I am adjusting accordingly. What does that mean, Ethan says. Not a question, a wish. It means the part that's mine will be mine, I say. The rest you'll handle with the competence you bring to everything when you want it. Silence sits down with us. Outside, a truck downshifts and a dog tells it not to. Brooke clears her throat. We can make space for Labor Day, she offers like a coupon we could. No, I say. Don't scavenge me a seat at a table set to exclude me. Either I'm on the list when the list is made or I'm not. Both are choices. Ethan's jaw tightens. He looks suddenly like the 12-year-old in the thrift store blazer, the tie a little off the room too big. You're being cold, he says, and the word hits like someone knocked on the wrong door. No, I say, I'm being clear. I lift the coffee cake platter and set it closer to them, habit, refusing to starve. You're welcome to stay for a slice, I say, because I refuse to learn pettiness at my age. Tea's hot. They each take a forkful because taking is easier than saying no. We stand there in a kitchen like every other safe kitchen, and not one of us is safe from anything we've built. After 10 minutes measured by the kettle's ticking as it cools, Brooke places her fork on the napkin with the care of someone leaving a room in order. We should get the kids from day camp, she says. You should, I say. I walk them to the door because houses like mine insist on courtesy even when no one is in the mood. On the porch, the air is brighter than it was an hour ago and means nothing by it. Brooke moves in for a hug she hasn't earned. I step a polite inch back. Her arms drop, her smile rennets. Ethan kisses the air somewhere near my temple. We'll call, he says. I say, and close the door as gently as I can without lying about how doors work. In the kitchen, the cake looks extravagant for one. I wrap it in plastic, smooth the edges like a bed. The blue notebook waits with its stubby patience. I write a single line, said it out loud. The hum in the walls changes key. I rinse the mugs we didn't use and set them upside down to dry. The house is not happier or sadder. It holds the weight it's given. I take the envelope from the fridge and slide the starfish sticker more firmly into place. I open the laptop to find the email from the law office already populated with draft language and a signature line that looks like it believes me. The cursor blinks. I place my hand flat on the counter, feel the stones cool and sign. The signature bar fades from blue to done, and the house takes a long breath like it's been waiting for me to remember how to move weight from one shelf to another. I shut the laptop, put the blue notebook on top of it, and rinse the tea mug until the chip shines. The legal pad stays open at the table, line after line of what I said yes to, like a field mode in strips. The chime on the porch plays something small against a wind I didn't order. I don't think the word getaway. I think room. A room where nobody reaches for me by habit. The listing finds me as if it knows my search terms before I do. Seal Cove Cottage, screened porch, short walk to the water. The photos are unambitious in the best way. Pine floors that have been forgiven more than once. A kettle that looks like it's kept promises, a dock that steps out into dark water and doesn't brag about it. Midweek is open. I pick 4 nights, type my name and the numbers the site wants. The confirmation email arrives before the chime can finish a verse. I pack without ceremony 2 shirts, 2 sweaters, because the coast keeps secrets. Jeans that remember me, the flannel robe that makes me look like a retired lumberjack, the chipped mug wrapped in a dish towel, the blue notebook, a pen. I don't have to ask twice to write a paperback. I've already underlined a jar of honey and apple because apples don't make demands. I leave the starfish envelope under the lobster magnet. The muffins stay where they are. I lock the door and check it twice because ritual smooths edges. Route 1 is the kind of drive that makes a person forgive things. Antique shops leaning into themselves. Diners where the pie glass spins like a universe flags, doing their best at half-hearted breezes. I pass a roadside stand with a hand-lettered sign, blueberries, cash honor box. I pull over. The berries sit in green paper pints like a choir. I take one and leave a 5 and count the change nobody will ask me for. The woman in the shade of the umbrella raises her newspaper and lowers it again, a salute of people who work on the same shift of the world. Past Trenton, the smell shifts to salt and warm spruce. At the causeway, the water flashes between rocks the way children flash between adult legs at a wedding. The sky is performance blue as if it knows cameras are out. I don't turn on the radio. The car hums a note that matches the road and then doesn't. Seal Cove appears the way coves do suddenly and as if they didn't need your permission. The cottage holds itself together with the confidence of a place that has survived 15 summers of cousins. The screen door speaks in its own vocabulary. Inside the air is cedar and old books that do not resent new readers. The living room is 3 chairs and a rug that has seen dogs and forgiven them. On the kitchen counter, a ceramic dish holds tea bags like it is proud of each of them. I set the mug down next to the kettle and turn the burner with the tenderness of someone who knows how gas rewards attention. On the porch, a wooden hook waits where a sign would hang. I slip the little plank from my tote, paint I dried in the sun last fall and never used. Please text before knocking. The words look like they're pretending to be a joke. I loop the twine over the hook. It swings and writes itself as if a breeze has memorized the letters. The first evening is a low tide of sound loon, distant outboard, a neighbor's screen door shutting with the soft authority of a librarian. I take the blue notebook and write, I'll stop waiting at the top of a page. No date, no flourish. I put the pen down and don't turn the page. The kettle trills a small yes. I make tea and sit with my feet on the second porch step because the first step has pine pitch on it, and I don't mind keeping my soles clean tonight. In the morning, fog sits so close to the cove it feels personal. The dock becomes a suggestion. I slide the kayak into the water because the cottage includes one and because I want my body to remember that forward doesn't require an audience. The paddle's blade catches and releases. A seal lifts its head like a very polite bouncer, decides I'm not on any list, and disappears in a punctuation mark. A gull follows me long enough to make a point and then loses interest. Back at the cottage, I tune the little radio on the shelf until an AM station uncurls baseball scores from 3 states away, a farm report that treats rainfall like gossip, a caller who wants to talk about the ethics of firewood. I drink coffee from the chipped mug and butter toast with the optimism of a first try. The notebook opens without argument. I write nothing and consider that an entry. I don't check voicemail because the phone is in a drawer that I close all the way. The silence is not empty. It is crowded with acceptable sounds whined in the spruces, the creak of the porch, the thump of a squirrel disappointed by the laws of gravity. When afternoon leans in, I nap like a person who earned it and forgot to claim it till now. The final test arrives when I open the drawer for a spoon and the phone clever animal lights up on its own. From Brooke Hale. Subject line looking ahead. I know the tone before the body loads, corporate kind. The sentences are standard issue. I'm sorry about how things played out. It was never our intention to make you feel outside. We're navigating a lot. The twins were accepted to North Row Academy, wonderful opportunity, but tuition is tight this year. We thought you might want to be part of that future. A thank you in advance follows pre-printed. The signature block has 3 lines about empowerment. I read it twice. The cove has taken on the afternoon shine where every small ripple puts on a suit. My thumb hovers over reply and finds it. I type a single sentence and stop there. I don't fund systems that shut me out. I read what I wrote as if a stranger sent it and decide to be the kind of person who doesn't explain past clarity. I hit send. The app makes a sound like a coin into a box and then returns to the weather. I do not pace. I do not narrate. I set the phone face down and leave it in the drawer with the can opener and the cork trivet. Outside, a pair of kids in bright life jackets clatter along the road toward the public float, their laughter untidy and necessary. The gulls argue and win. A skiff engine starts and idles and starts again until it decides to behave. At supper, I do not overthink what to feed myself. I eat blueberries out of the green paper square and cheese off the knife and crackers that have absorbed a respectable amount of fog. I drink water that tastes like the word cold. The radio gives me a weather update that agrees with my hair. As the light folds itself into the trees, I carry a chair to the edge of the grass and face the cove. The sign on the porch moves enough to remind me I put it there. The blue notebook sits on my lap and keeps my knees warm. A heron lifts out of the shallows like a proof. Across the water, someone's screen door closes. Someone laughs, someone calls a name that is not mine, and the sound still pleases me. When dark is dark and not just a dimming, I wash the mug and set it on the rack. I turn off the radio and the refrigerator becomes the house's only instrument again. In the bedroom, the quilt has been washed so many times it has the softness of a decision finally made. I leave the window open to let in the smell of wet rope and salt and a cedar tree that knows how to breathe. The sign on the porch clicks once against its hook and is quiet. The room has its own weather, and tonight I am the right size for it. I drive home in the kind of morning that can't decide between fog and sun. The causeway water lies flat, then shivers as if it remembered someone. The radio stays off. The cottage key sits on the passenger seat until I drop it in the mailbox at the rental office, a clean handoff that doesn't ask for ceremony. From Trenton to Portland, the road unspools antique shops, a gas station that still sells maps, a farm stand with corn arranged like disciplined soldiers. I stop once for coffee, not because I need it, but because I want a cup to hold. The house looks as it did when I left porch steady chime considerate shingles giving the narrow impression of shrugging. Inside, the air keeps its cool. The muffins on the counter have given up their first day pride. I lift the wax paper and the scent of blueberry leans toward me like someone remembering my name. I taste one. It's still good if you accept that good can mean different things. I water the plant on the windowsill and watch the soil go dark, the speedy satisfaction of an easy fix. Outside the yard asks, and I answer. In the strip along the fence, a space is ready for hydrangeas I bought last week and failed to put in the ground. I set my knee on the pad and sink the trowel. The earth yields with the particular sound of summer dirt. I fold in compost that smells like a promise kept long after anyone asked for proof. I tip the shrubs from their black pots, the root balls holding on with the stubbornness I recognize. I settle them, tamp the soil, build a small saucer of dirt to teach the water where to stay. The flowers are blue, not the main license plate blue, but the kind you find on postcards and then under certain skies. I hose the dust off my ankles and the water splashes the stones into honesty. Mr. Ellison shuffles by with Duke on a leash that looks like it remembers better days. He lifts 2 fingers. Those will take, he says, as if he made a note of it. They'd better, I say. Duke sniffs the boundary between sidewalk and yard with the seriousness of a customs officer. Book circle tonight, he asks. Saw the sign at Calder's. Pie on the flyer, so I assume it's real. I'll bring a fork, I say. He nods and keeps going, Duke reading the neighborhood 1 blade of grass at a time. Inside, I rinse the dirt out of my nails at the kitchen sink and catch my face in the window, less tired than honest. On the fridge, the starfish sticker glints. Zoe's envelope waits like a courteous guest. I move it a 1/4 inch straighter because that is what I do when there is nothing left to fix that needs fixing. I open the blue notebook and write, planted hydrangeas on the top line on the next T7. The phone blinks a voicemail. I let it sit. Later, curiosity turns my finger toward the triangle. Zoe's voice arrives like she is speaking through her hands. Grandma, we saw a seal. It looked like a dog that made a wish. I got the top bunk. Dad says I should say hi. Hi. There's a muffled exchange, the kind of static that speaks fluent family. I miss you, she adds, plainly, no embroidery. The line clicks. No number to call back, that wouldn't be the same as calling everyone. I replay the part about the dog wish twice, then stop because twice is plenty. At 6:50, I put on a sweater that forgives the way I have been sitting lately and walk toward Harbor Pages. The evening light finds the edges of things as if someone taught it rendering. The bell over the bookshop door rings like the first page of a paperback. Oyster the cat ignores me with theater. Ms. Calder points with her chin to the circle of chairs, where 3 people are already talking about a paragraph they haven't reached yet. We saved the good chair, she says. It doesn't wobble as much as it used to. I appreciate low drama, I say, and drop my purse in the basket by the desk, where everyone's bag looks like everyone else's bag. The book on my lap is not the one we're discussing, but we pretend that all books are cousins. Tea appears in paper cups. Pie blueberry, because the state insists, arrives on plates that have been used for craft night, story time, and a fundraiser where we all pretended not to bid against each other. The talk goes the way talk does when the stakes are both small and not small. We like a sentence. We don't like another. Someone cries softly without explanation. Someone else fills the space with a joke that lands like a blanket. We are not friends, and we are, and the cat patrols the boundary with the confidence of a creature who believes all rooms are his. On the walk home, the harbor air lifts the hair at the back of my neck and then smooths it. At the corner, a boy on a skateboard glides past in a line, so clean it could slice bread. I pause at the little free library and slide in a paperback I finished, and on a whim, a stack of stamps with shorebirds. Someone will write to someone. The idea pleases me. Back in the house, I take the frame from the back of the drawer, where the odd things land rubber bands that tried and failed a key I keep out of superstition. I wipe the glass with the dish towel that has sprouted a constellation of blueberry dots. From the shoebox, I pull the drawing with our big hands in our leaning house. I center it behind the glass and press the tabs down. On the windowsill, I set the frame so the afternoon sun makes the paper a little translucent. The stick figures hold hands with the seriousness of a pact. I stand and look until the lines stop moving. The legal pad is still on the table as columns of yes and time, neither scolding nor proud. I slide it under the blue notebook, and the blue notebook over it, a simple architecture that satisfies some small architect who lives behind my ribs. The kettle whistles once an involuntary sound. I turn the burner off. The mug with the chip takes its place, and I pour the hot water like I know where it goes. The hydrangeas out front drink from their new saucers. The chime throws a quiet backhand into the breeze. Somewhere a dog explains the mail to itself. I lift the tea to my mouth and let it cool near my lip, not to prolong anything, just to match the temperature of the room. I don't open the laptop. I don't check the account balances I already changed. I sit in the chair that fits me and write 3 words here. For me, they are not a plan, they are a location. The light in the kitchen goes a little honeyed around the edges. I rinse the cup and set it upside down. The window carries a Swarovski I recognize. The starfish sticker keeps smiling with its many arms. The house holds the sounds it knows. The hydrangeas outside look like a thought I finally had. The chime finds a note and lets it hang. Thank you so much for listening to today's story. If this story resonated with you or made you reflect, I'd love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to share them in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss the next story.